greater travesty could there be than
having Tom Stoppard write the paper for me? Of course, I didn't know Tom Stoppard. I was just a lowly juggler in a
although Paul was one of the valedictorians, he didn't graduate because his professor demanded that he finish a paper, turn in a paper before he would graduate.
So 11 years passed.
this is like a jump cut in the movies?
And we're on Broadway doing Comedy of Errors, which is a wonderful show. And we hear that Tom Stoppard is in the audience.
Yeah, and the strangest thing is that the press guy comes backstage and says he wants to visit you during intermission. We're not sure if he only can stand watching half the show. He's got a prior engagement, but nonetheless, there he is, backstage in intermission.
Oliver.
Yeah. So we chat for a moment, and then Paul says, "Okay, look, you've got to write this 5-page paper for me. Here's 5 sheets of legal paper and a pen." And he agreed to do it.
He agreed to do it.
Not right there, but he agreed to do it.
And 2 weeks later, in the mail, I got a letter from Tom Stoppard with the 5 sheets of paper in it. And the first 4 sheets were, you know, a treatise on travesties by Paul Magee. And then
page the first,
and then travesties, a treatise, Paul Magee, page 2. And then the 5th page was actually a limerick that he had penned for travesties but never used.
It was actually a rejected limerick form that went the usual AABB, and then the next line ended with "wait a minute," and then the next line was a D, a completely different rhyme, and the final line ended with "oh fuck this."
That is correct.
But sort of unique original scholarship has emerged from this interaction, which is what you're supposed to do. Ought to get a PhD, not just a bachelor's degree.
So I call up my professor and my supervisor, who's held me back from getting my degree, and say, you know, "Professor Warren, I have the paper, and I have, you know," and he said, no, you don't have to worry about that. You know, we've been teaching you in our classes. You're part of the theater, you know, works now, and I said, no, you don't understand. I have the paper. I'm going to send it to you.
You didn't actually send him the paper. You sent him a copy of it.
I did not send him the actual. I have the original.
But imagine being threatened with forcible graduation. I mean, in this hashtag era, that's just not going to happen anymore.
And so
no graduation without
I got my degree 11 years later.
In that same Broadway show, I did one short, completely monologue piece, no juggling involved, which is a monologue about ballet, because I had been a ballet dancer. And in that little monologue, it ended with a line about this ballerina that had inspired me. And I said, I still love you, and break a leg. And years later, I was working at Pixar Animation Studios. You know Pixar? Yeah. And I got a call from Steve Jobs, and Steve Jobs said, "Randy, would you show a friend of mine around the studio? They'd just like to give him a tour." And I said, "Well, okay." And it turned out to be Ken Burns, the filmmaker. And so this is pretty good. When Steve calls, you answer. You won't have that chance anymore, but they always turned out good for me. And so I'm walking across the atrium with Ken Burns, and he says, "Do you know what break a leg means? Do you know where it comes from?" I went, "Well, we've all heard stories, but I think I'm going to hear something authoritative here." He said, "You know, if you were, by command of the royal court, asked to come and play music or something like that for the king, it's not because the king's going to listen to you. They don't have a radio, right? There's no background music in those days, but they might want to have some music. If you were so talented and so wonderful, and you fit in the moment just right, so you didn't call too much attention to yourself, but you did in fact get the attention of the king, and the king looked and went, nice. Well, then you'd have to acknowledge the king's acknowledgement of you, and how would you do that? You'd bow. Howard, would you demonstrate?
There you go. Break a leg.
Which is to break a leg.